I'm Jack Nichols and welcome to Home Sports.
He's going to break his 6th world title.
Oh, he's done it! And look at these two go! He's going to do it! His first victory!
The World Championship is done.
What a race it's been!
Hello and welcome to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, the Ile Notre Dame in Montreal, Canada, for the 5th round of the 2026 Formula SimRacing Pro Championship, brought to you, of course, by our partners at Grid Finder. My name is Edward Hunter. Unfortunately, Ryan Ferris was going to join me, but unfortunately Ryan is ill, so get well soon to Ryan. Instead, joining me is our broadcast director, Amir Oates, who is going to also continue in his broadcast directing duties, as he's done a brilliant job of that all season long. So, we are at the midpoint in the championship. Let's just remind ourselves of what happened in round 4. Of course, it was a first win of the season for Finland's Jesse Lahtinen, the MV Conquest driver. Now, as you can see on the points table, within 7 points of the championship lead, currently held by Cedric Bill, who's been leading it since the start of the season. Last couple of events have seen Bill finish 4th and 3rd. Momentum starting to slowly eke away there as Jesse Lahtinen is starting to really get everything together and has certainly been one of the dominant drivers in qualifying. 3 poles out of a possible 4 so far this season. We also saw Luis Meza in his first appearance, the young Brazilian driver, I'm not mistaken, getting P2, separating Lahtinen and Bill in Azerbaijan. You can see Meza with just one appearance, his name all the way up in 9th. Other drivers to look out for, we've got Galamatis in 3rd, Nando Massa from Ground Effect in 4th on 42 points, Christine Glamsetter on 35 points in 5th, Sander van Leeuwen is 6th, and then we have David Akheim in 7th, Philip Savinsky in 8th, the aforementioned Meza 9th, and Zabra Lekis rounds out the top 10 of our 8th, 9th, and 10th place drivers, all on 21 points each. So, and then of course there's Jared Batala, just 1 point behind them, is the Spaniard in P11. So, very, very tight, a little bit lower down the pack, and even at the front as well. So, with qualifying, we're not far away from getting qualifying underway, but let's bring in Amir now. Amir, well, we've the viewers will have heard your handiwork before when you pitched in for World Championship as well. It's lovely to have you back. You're at the midpoint in the season, and if there's a very clear narrative emerging, it is Lahtinen versus Bill at the moment, and at the moment, Bill is being caught.
Certainly has, but I think it's, despite Lahtinen getting his first win for what has been quite a bit of a long while for Baku, at least from how close he was to the win, I think the important thing for Cedric now at this moment is do his utmost to try and mitigate that. But I think seen from the server, I can't seem to see Cedric anywhere. So it could be a clean sweep for Lahtinen. But as we've said, Mesa, the Spaniard who's just made his 1 race appearance, is already on 21 points. He could be in course to, take a race win out from Latin, for instance.
Yeah, that's entirely possible, but we'll wait and see. Could just be that Cedric Bill is running late and might have to miss qualifying. We actually saw his teammate Van Leeuwen do that in Azerbaijan, and it didn't end too well for him, unfortunately, with a crash while trying to make up ground up the order in the early laps. And anyway, you can see there the diagram of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, of course. And it is a fantastic venue, of course, for racing. It's one of those it's sort of a street track in many senses of the word, but it has got a very long backstraight. 2's a fairly lengthy back straights, and then the start-finish straight, of course. And yeah, of course, that's because where our DRS detection points will be. I believe there's at least 2 on the run-out we're using at the moment. I know in GPV, when I was watching those, they had 3 DRS zones because they had one between turn 7 and 8 as well on the sort of mini back straight at the sort of top of the circuit. But it is, of course, a really challenging one, quite bumpy in places, and the setup here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is quite interesting because you need to have pretty good top speed, but also you need to make sure the suspension can manage getting over the curbs, particularly at the final chicane is Wall of Champions, but there's plenty of chicanes up and down the circuit, and then the two sort of hairpins at turn 2 and turn 10 can also become overtake opportunities as well. So, yeah, we saw in real life a week ago how much drama Montreal could produce, and hopefully, Amir, we're going to see something similar here in FSR Pro.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a very good reason why Montreal has been on the calendar for this year. It's a really good track, as you said. I think the DRS sections is only between two back-to-back, only separated by the final two corners of 12 and 13. So that means that the hairpin at turn 10 is going to be extraordinarily crucial to, get overtakes made, and that's probably going to see most of the action come ahead. I think the very interesting thing is Montreal sort of evolved over the years. So sometimes the best overtaking opportunities was turn 1, but as you said, the addition of the third DRS zone means that turns 8 and 9 was also very action-packed. So I think it differs between the car specs and the DRS zones that are activated here at Gilles Villeneuve. It's going to determine how not only this race is going to pan out, but also where the action zones of the track is going to be. I think that's one of my favourite things I love about Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, honestly. And as you said, it's not many tracks, apart from maybe Albert Park's the one that comes to mind, but there's not really that could be a street circuit. I also have facilities of a permanent racing facility, and Montreal's right at that sweet spot, and it's often, notoriously known as probably most of these drivers' favourite street circuits from that accolade.
Yeah, certainly. Of course, there are a number of us. When you think of street circuits in sort of open wheel Formula One style racing, you do tend to think of the likes of the Côte d'Azur, as I think it's called in rFactor 2, or the Principality, as I think most of us know. Oh, Zoltzik says, Edward, do you have a cold? No, I think my voice is just a bit, because I was commentating real life go-karting yesterday, so my throat hasn't fully recovered from that. I think it's the main thing. I'm just a little bit tired. But anyway, no reason not to give it. And I've just seen, by the way, Cedric Bill has joined the server, so he means we got 20, I say 20 drivers, 21, because Sabrialekis has also joined him as well. So great to see the Hungarian for Seven Arrows making an appearance as well. I think Seven Arrows, I think it's his teammate Jared Batala in the number 3 card that is on our thumbnail as well for this particular round as well. So Seven Arrows, a really, really great team to have on board. And of course, their boss, David O'Reilly, also participating here. And David is also, as people will know, the race director. But anyway, you can see overcast. There is a couple of rumours that there might be a little bit of maybe a couple of drops of rain towards the end of the World Championship race, but we don't know too much more than that so far. The weather's being, as it tends to be, just that little bit unpredictable, and that was also a little bit the case in in real life as well, at the very start of the Formula 1 race, of course. But yeah, anyway, this practice session, you can see the fastest time, 109.627 by Luis Meza, who was so impressive back at Baku, where he, of course, finished as the runner-up. But that could be a bit of a unexpected rogue element for Lattinen and Bill in their title fight, because Yassi Lattinen, he will really want to focus on getting out of a pole position in the qualifying session coming up. And if Mesa steals pole position away from him as Lattinen gets a bit closer, but not close enough, then that could be just a real fly in the ointment, where all of a sudden Lattinen and Bill could end up fighting for P2 in the race. If Mesa control swings from the front, and that would be not ideal. So Lattinen may have to, like we saw in Bahrain, do a clever strategy ploy to get up front if he can't get on pole position.
It is still practice, so they have all the time in the world to kind of get their setups right into order. Haven't quite seen what Lattinen or Mesa can do in terms of a limited time of 10 minutes in qualifying, or from the other ones down below. I've seen Cazzanieri and Scarpelli just outside of that one. They're about a couple of hundreds difference between each other, which is pretty impressive for the Italians of the MV Conquest and the Valet. like high and has managed to breach into the top 5. But again, no, we're yet to see what Cedric Bill's pace is going to develop. I think we will get into qualifying in just a very few minutes, like I think maybe 5 minutes or less. I think.
Oh, big snap for Latin.
Oh, jeez.
And he's, I think, decided to abandon that lap. Good thing, of course, it's a private session, as it will be in qualifying, so nobody can slipstream each other. As we see Canzonieri, who actually finished in the top 9 in the World Championship at Baku in Azerbaijan, was actually running 4th in the World Championship race at one point, and he sort of decided that he wanted to, I think, switch to pro, having started off as just doing World Championship, and then ended up getting his best result of the season in World Championship. So, yeah, Canzonieri, of course, though, was, I believe, in the top 4 last time. Memory says, yes, he was. He was 4th exactly on his return, because, of course, he was the runner-up last season in the Pro Championship. So, Giuseppe Canzonieri is looking to sort of pick up and continue that strong form. Him and his teammate Dano Bramfom looking to get Valet, of course, back into the mix for the Pro Teams Championship, because, of course, they won the Pro Teams Championship when they had Alessandro Maggio and Sergio Fletcher driving for them in 2024, with both drivers missing out on the title by a single point each, essentially. It was incredibly close. As there we go, or Sabralekis as well, also getting his first time on the board, and there is our championship leader Cedric Bill, but only by the slender margin of 7 points, and of course showing up fairly late for the practice session. It does mean that Bill, not necessarily completely on the back foot, but certainly he's got to get up to speed quickly, isn't he, come to qualifying, and let's hope he's done a lot of practice earlier in the week for Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal's not really the kind of track you want to come in completely cold-handed into.
Are there any?
You do need...
Are there any that you want to come in completely cold? Monza, maybe? But I think other than that, yeah.
I mean, I get your point. I was thinking maybe Paul Ricard because of the amount of runoffs there is. But we don't really race in France.
It is in Le Mans Ultimate, though, to be fair, Paul Ricard. As Cedric Bill sets the 8th fastest time, 1 minute 10.5, so not bad for a first effort whatsoever. But the Frenchman then certainly yet to get on pole so far this season. It's usually the races where Cedric really comes into his own. But to be fair, there's been a couple of races where he's been on the front row and not far off of pole position. So, yeah, Cedric will just be hoping to use his typical tyre whispering strategies to his advantage here. Montreal can be quite heavy on the tyres as well, Amir. That's probably a good subject to bring up at this point while we're waiting.
It's not really as tire intensive as other tracks that we've been to, though. So I think as much as it can benefit for someone like Cedric, I think it could go for the other way and really also benefit those that are really, really heavy on the tires. And there isn't really much high-speed corners, which is part of the benefit for Montreal for, you know, these drivers, which means that we can maybe see even more side-by-side action, and could be the maximum that we will see at least through this course of the season until, of course, Montreal comes along. I did realize we do have a third DRS straight, so that means we will see action down to turn 8. Bill does improve, and he'll be happy with that on the soft tires. Still 6/10 off from the practice fastest lap of Mesa, but still pretty good there for the Frenchman.
You say until Montreal comes around, because I think we're not far away from that. And
Monza comes around.
Monza, yeah, because it was on the community vote. Monza. I think Montreal was one of our already agreed sort of rounds that we had put together. But yeah, okay. I'm just asking if we're ready for quali, so I'll just say. Oh, I've misspelled that. Anyway,
I don't remember if it started now or if it started in 4 minutes time, in which case I might have done it a bit early.
Ah, never mind. This is why we get to introduce the broadcast. Oh dear! Somebody getting the final chicane very wrong indeed and colliding with the wall of champions. It looked like one of the optimal hosting cars. Oh, it's Savinsky, who's just gone rearwards into the wall. I do hope we're not going to see it's a good thing we've got 22 people starting this qualifying session, because if we have a 1999 Formula 1 Grand Prix style scenario with loads of people hitting the wall of champions, then then we could end up with quite a lot of people who finish the race ending up being in the points as well, as has often been the case a couple of times this season when the attrition rate has been high.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Oh, there we go. And that's our cue to go straight into qualifying.
Here we go then. So, Jesse Lattinen looking for pole number 4 this season. The only driver that's essentially, other than him, that's qualified on pole position has been Dano Brantfeld back in Bahrain, of course. But the Swedish driver otherwise has been sort of there or thereabouts in the top 10 and very solid. A big threat, though, could be this man, Luis Mesa. I don't think Mesa... I think as he might be filling in for Sander van Leeuwen is what I'm seeing. There we go. Well, that explains, yeah. So it's the timing screen has got the generic livery, but you can see there he has got the Sander van Leeuwen optimal livery, the main optimal team, of course. A reminder that there may be, of course, a lot of optimal affiliated teams, but they as entries, they're not allowed to work together essentially outside of the specific two-car team entry there. So that's something we really wanted to avoid, essentially, because otherwise you end up with the same team with 8 drivers, essentially, or maybe more, and it can turn into a little bit of a cartel, which, to excuse the pun, is not something we particularly... it doesn't benefit the racing sometimes, because if a team can coordinate a race, if they got all their cars in the top 8, then it doesn't tend to lead to a great product for us watching.
Yeah, you're right about that in some cases. But it's going to be pretty interesting. I think we don't know if Mesa would be able to properly go out, if he will be able to hold on to his pole position as much as practice would say he is, or if Lattinen might be holding something back. And we know how much that Lattinen needs the momentum to swing to his favour to get up all the lost momentum that Cedric Bill has kind of held captive since the start of the season. We could be seeing a very exciting duel here for pole position, Ed.
Okay, first flying lap started then for Luis Mesa into the first corner, hits the apex into turn 2. That sort of long right-hander, you really have to make sure that you you can sort of take a wider entry there, but you do need to make sure you're on the front. The sparks flying out of the diffuser there as he comes into 3 and 4, so maybe these softs not quite up to temperature fully just yet, but yeah, certainly, of course, he's the first man on track, so not surprised to see Mesa purple so far, but Lattinen has gone slightly faster in the first sector on his particular lap. Reminder, of course, private session, so they won't be seeing each other's all a little bit wide on the exit for the middle part of the chicane there, so Mesa kicks up a little bit of grass. It looks like Brandfom currently fastest in the middle sector, but Mesa, I think, has exceeded that as he slides the rear out of the turn. That was the turn 10 hairpin, of course, so it can be really affecting your run all the way down this back straight, particularly in qualifying, of course, where there's no cars to slipstream off of. Mesa charges into the final chicane, avoids the Wall of Champions with the FSR logo plastered across it. Towards the line he comes. It is going to be a 1 minute 9.958, but what can second place man in the championship, Jesse Lattinen, do 109.911, so 48 thousandths quicker. So there we go. First blood to Lattinen. Cedric Bill, our championship leader, down in P7, though. So he needs to find that little bit of time. Half a second off the pace then, as we see Vincentievich go to P17 now.
Yeah, that was great. I didn't really expect Lattinen to be so close to Mesa with holding the purple first 2 sectors. But I guess it goes to show just how important that final sector is, that Lattinen didn't quite nail it as much as Mesa did. And as a result, the margins are just ever so slightly thin, 500ths. And again, just a slight improvement from either driver, and it can either grow or come even closer. Capello through to the line for the red Italian team. He'll be in 17th. And we've got O'Reilly and Vincentievich, I think. No, O'Reilly's still the last driver out yet to set a lap time.
Yeah, I think Leila Petraglia might have just started a lap, and I think Bernat has as well. So, yeah, we'll have to see as through to the final chicane as we see Cedric Bill improving up to P3 behind his teammate for the day, Mesa. David O'Reilly not happy with that lap, though. The Australian coming into the pits to reset as Perseus Miram goes P13 then. So the Canadian in his home event looking to score some decent points there is Perseus, who has been one of the... I think he scored in 3 of the races so far. He's only done 3 of the races. He's scored every time he's shown up as Perseus Miram. 12th in Australia, 7th in Japan, and 11th in Bahrain as Bernat burns out the rear tyres there, coming out of the hairpin at turn 10. And there is Jean-Michel Garnier for Competition. There was a great thing believe it was a video just sort of posted by Juho Soppinen of him sliding across at the turn 1 and 2 section and colliding into one of the competition cars with a way I can explain. So just Juho having a bit of fun, I think, getting out of control. As you see Layla Petraglia in the ELK crossing the line now. Oh, best of luck, Amir. Let's see what Layla can do on her first run. It is P18, 1 minute 12.0 then. So that puts it just behind Lucas Viscott and just ahead of Victor Bernat, who, as we saw, had a bit of a scruffy first lap there.
Elk Edward. But yeah, it's still pretty good there from her. I think any more improvements. Mesa hits the wall onto the final corner. Is that going to do any damage to his lap time? He's purple already. He's still made purple and he takes pole position away from Latinen.
Yeah, it still didn't hurt his momentum too much in the final sector at all. In fact, I think he did go purple in that last sector then. So Latinen fastest in the first sector though, but not an improvement in the second. Scarpelli has gone third with the fastest final sector for him. So very impressive from the ALM MV driver into the final chicane. Fully committed is Yasse Latinen. Can he claw that 10th back that he needs to beat Mesa here? Oh, I don't think it's going to be quite enough. Those final 2 sectors really let him down there. And yeah, this is very, very interesting indeed because we have got our top 4 has got Latinen and Bill in it, but also Mesa and Scarpelli ahead of both, one of each of them, essentially. So, yeah, the Brazilian and the Italian making things pretty fascinating here indeed.
I'm just, I had a bit of repairs. Apologies, viewers, for a little bit of the issues, but I think we're back up and running. Not back up and running, but sound issue. We fixed it. Still 3 minutes and 30 to go. I think Cedric Bill went for the line. No improvements for him. He'll still remain in 4th. Akhayan, could he do anything there?
Well, potentially. Akhayan was looking pretty strong early in the session. Of course, winner last season in Mexico in the Pro Championship. So the German has competed in Japan, Australia, where he came 6th, and last time in Azerbaijan, where he came 5th then. So Akhayan has missed a couple of races so far this season, and certainly optimal hosting could use good qualifying here with him. And Glamset Akhayan gets ahead of Scarpelli into P3, so just under 3.5 tenths off of pole here. So I really think this is turning into Mesa versus Latinen in this pole position fight as we now watch Nando Marsa in our leading grand event contender. You see how close they get to the wall on the outside at turn 8 there. And Nando Marsa has been kind of a very unlucky race actually last time out in Baku, if memory serves, where he was looking good early on and then fell into difficulties. I'm trying to look at where Nando is in the championship. He's P4, of course. Finished 4th in the first 2 races, 8th in Bahrain and 12th in Azerbaijan. So Nando Marsa could do a really, really good sort of top 6 finish here. At the moment, he is 10th. Good first sector. Not a big improvement at all in the middle. So let's see if he can claw it all together with this final sector. Towards the line he comes. It's an improvement in time, but not position, as Mesa is on an absolute fly here. Amir, and again, he uses the wall to slow down. And that's compromised that what was looking like a brilliant lap there. And it could well have opened the door for the contenders behind.
I saw Latinen was purple into the middle sector while we were looking at Marsa, but he also slowed down on the final sector as well. So again, they're just eking for improvements, but they need to connect that third sector well and truly together. Scarpelli has broken into the top 3 with an impressive 1:10.05.
Indeed, yeah, that's very, very close to the 109s, and he's only about the distance between Mesa, Latinen, and Scarpelli is sort of equidistant now, just 0.135, 136 between all of them. So let's see then. Scarpelli in the pit lane, and I don't think he's got enough time to set another one. And O'Reilly is, for whatever reason, abandoning this lap too. So now Terry Crawford, the Australian, in the sole remaining Sim Spark, I think, because I don't think Alex Hallows is here this evening. So Terry Crawford has got a chance to beat his fellow Australian in the form of David O'Reilly. 21-0 in the first sector, 24-0 in the middle. So he just has to keep it clean. Doesn't use very much curb at all, does Terry. Towards the line he comes. Bernat, I think, is just on P10. Latinen purple in the middle sector. Crawford will go P22. So, of course, he does beat David O'Reilly. But Latinen, moment of truth. for his pole position aspirations. Can he get a 4th pole of the season? Towards the line he comes. Can he overbridge that gap? Yes! Yes, he can by 58 thousandths of a second. Jesse Lahtinen, with 25 seconds to go in this session, is on pole position, but Mesa, I believe, has just started another lap.
They're both going to try and maybe go for one lap. It could come down to this then, so we'll see if Lahtinen is going to be able to string it together just as well as he did, but Mesa already purple into the first sector.
Oh, this is impressive then. Mesa has, of course, finished second last time out in Azerbaijan. Has got his championship well and truly underway. Oh, look at how unstable the rear is, and into the wall he goes. That's surely blown it. So that means Jesse Lahtinen almost certainly, unless Scarpelli or somebody else can bridge something together, will have done enough to start on provisional pole. Scarpelli, personal best is all. Spinning out the rear tires. I think Lahtinen was deciding to drop that lap in dramatic fashion there. Miram now, the Canadian, in his local home race, wants to try and get back into the points-paying positions. He's 17th at the moment. Will this lap get him into the top 15? It does. He jumps Rarest Toma and Lucas Visca into 15th position as Kevin Morville has impressively gotten into P13 as the Competizione man. So good stuff by the Frenchman. It's all the French-speaking Canadian and the Canadian drivers that are starting to excel at the end here. Rarest Toma can only finish P17, and here is Zabralekis then, the Hungarian. Joined the session late. Can he sneak into the top 10 with his final effort? He's 12th at the moment, and 12 is where he stays. As there goes Philip Savinsky. Oh, I think Savinsky has had enough of that car and enough of that session. There's Scarpelli also ending in dramatic fashion.
Good Lord.
There we go. I can always rely on you for good reactions there, Amir. But anyway, that confirms then Jesse Lahtinen does take his 4th pole position of the season after a great qualifying battle with Luis Mesa. Mesa making that one mistake at the end. Well, actually, there were 2 mistakes, weren't there, that really cost him there in terms of getting on pole. Jesse Lahtinen, there we go, confirmation. 1 minute 9.717 is the pole time with Luis Mesa. Just agonizingly behind that by just a tiny margin. Domenico Scarpelli, his best qualifying of the season so far, sees him start 3rd for the ALM MV Conquest team. Optimal Trophy represented by David Akhayan, who's gotten his car into 4th. Then we've got Cedric Bill, our championship leader, down in 5th, which is certainly a little bit of work for Cedric to do if he wants to finish on the podium again. Giuseppe Canzonieri, 4th last time out in Baku, he starts P6. Christian Glamsetter will start P7 in the second of our Optimal Trophy entries. Nandon Marsa starts P8 for Ground Effect. Then Dano Bramfom is 9th, with Philip Savinsky rounding out the top 10 after absolutely detonating his car at the end of the session there, but I guess he'll get a new one for the race. Victor Bernat will start the race in P11 ahead of Zabralekis. Kevin Morville qualified 13th, ahead of Jean-Michel Garnier, his teammate. So Garnier, a late improvement to P14. Perseus Miram just snuck into the top 15 at the end of that qualifying session for the second Ground Effect car. And then we've got Lucas Viscott, who will start P16. Rarest Toma, the young man for Mission 19 Velo 1 GP, will start P17. Jared Batala will start 18th. Leila Petraglia will start 19th. And Andrea Capello will round out the top 20. Then we've got our last couple of drivers on the grid. Mihailo Vincentievich in 21st, Terry Crawford in 22nd, and David O'Reilly deciding not to set a time, starting possibly from the pit exit and hoping to avoid all the carnage in the early laps. It can bunch up quite a lot in the first sector on the first lap at Montreal, as we have seen in other categories outside of FSR. So I think that might be a sensible decision from David. But that confirms the end of qualifying, and you have to say Jesse Lahtinen performing superbly there and continuing his strong momentum from the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, and I think what gives him probably the biggest ease in terms of his championship fight is Cedric Bill kind of struggling quite a bit compared to his sister team and his actual teammate in Mesa and Aghayan, 2nd and 4th for them both. It means that's going to be even more of a pressure for Cedric to try and climb up to meet to Mesa, and then from that way they have to kind of figure out a way on how they could topple Lahtinen. But 60 laps is still a pretty long while. There's lots of strategy that can be at hand, and we've learned that through these races that Cedric is not really as strong as qualified as he is in terms of strategy, and that's where he's always flourished. So there is a possibility that we could see the same thing from Cedric here. But at Montreal, it's going to be, I think, even harder to make the right strategy call. But I know for certain that Cedric will absolutely give it his all to at least gain some positions. Latin, what he can do, he just needs to control the field and make everyone play through his way of doing the race. And I think holding on to that lead will be pretty okay for the first driver, but the problem is Mace is right alongside him, and again the qualifying difference is all that takes. 600ths is still a small margin, and Latin could easily lose that in a matter of just a few laps, and then suddenly he finds himself having to take aggressive action against the Spaniard. But time will tell with how Montreal will pan out here in the pro race. You want to do a short commercial break?
I think this would probably be a brilliant opportunity to do that. Let's go for it, Amir. So here's a word from some of our partners.
The SimRacer's Performance Guide, your guide to race setup, strategy, driver performance. Dive in deep, learn about suspension, aero, braking, drivetrain, with a 77-page manual packed full of
Well, there we go then. Brilliant stuff from Grid Finder and the SimRacer's Performance Guide. Just a reminder, my name is Edward Hunter. Joining me in Contrabox is our broadcast director, Amir Oates. And we've got 60 laps of action here down the Ile Notre Dame, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada, in Montreal, Canada. Near downtown Montreal, of course. Beautiful city. And we're going to see some spectacular action with, of course, second place man in the championship, Jesse Laitinen, bidding to become the championship leader. Of course, had a bit of bad luck at the very start of the season in Melbourne, and is now only within 7 points after basically finishing second, and first in the last 3 races. He is slowly but surely been closing that gap to Cedric Bill, and this could be the big opportunity at the midpoint of the season to finally take control of this championship. But of course, on the grid, the problem is that Luis Mesa, Cedric Bill's teammate in this race, starts right alongside Jesse Laitinen, whereas Jesse Laitinen's teammate, Lucas Viscott, starts down in P16. So, with the best will in the world, it's difficult to see, unless Viscott runs really long on the hard tyres, how he can really help Jesse Laitinen out in this situation here. So, Laitinen has got to fight all the might of Optimal by himself, but he's done it before. Last time at Baku. Let's see if Laitinen can strike twice then, as we are moments away from seeing the grid form for the formation lap, Amir. And this will be a very interesting contest here, just to see who decides to go aggressive at the start, puts the soft tires on, who's going to play it safe and probably go for the mediums.
Yeah, so many different strategies at hand, and the problem is that they can't really determine, at least from waiting, for what other compounds are going to do. So it's all going to be a bunch of estimated guesses. But I think everyone will probably be in the same wavelength in terms of the strategy. I think they probably will start with the mediums or the softs, my estimated guess, at the very least. And then everyone, I think, will work themselves up from here.
It's funny, just as you said that, all the tyres turn to hard on the left-hand side. But I'm pretty sure that's inaccurate, given what I am seeing in front of me then. But anyway, there we go. Jesse Laitinen leads away on the formation lap. It's a fairly short lap, of course, even under formation. So if we can, let's very quickly breeze through the grid order before we go too much further. Jesse Laitinen then, as on the front row, on pole position for the 4th time this season with Luis Mesa alongside him. Domenico Scarpelli and David Akayan make up row 2. Then is Cedric Bill and Giuseppe Canzonieri who make up row 3 with Christine Glamsender down on Massa row 4. And oh my goodness, that Mesa on screen at least flipping over and hitting the back of Jesse Laitinen. That was quite distracting from reading out the grid order. So Mesa hit the wall. Let's hope the car's not too badly damaged and he's able to retake that grid spot. But yeah, that was certainly a bit of a quite literal turn up there. Anyway, the rest of the grid order. assuming Mesa can get back into P2 before the end of the formation lap, we have got Christian Glamseder and Nando Marsa 7th and 8th on row 4. We've got Dano Brownfom, Philip Savinsky, row 5, rounding out the top 10. Victor Bernat and Zabralekis on row 6. And on row 7, we've got Kevin Morville. So it was a lag thing. I don't think the starting to come to a dead stop there. So Mesa really unlucky there. He sort of caught up in that.
That's such a weird... I've never seen that before happen in rFactor 2, especially during the formation lap. I think it might be, as you said, a bit of a latency issue. And
yeah, it slowed right down and then immediately started to speed up again there. So definitely not intentional. And I think they've actually, by the looks of things, decided to reset the server and do the formation lap again. Wow. At least the problems have happened before the race started and not during the race, because that would be probably even more frustrating. But anyway, so I guess we got more time to go through the grid order then before the formation lap appears again. But
the graphic here, or
I'm not too fussed, but if we need to save time or not. But yeah, only 23 drivers to get through. Let's hope we keep them all for the restart. But certainly Luis Mesa putting in an acrobatic flip completely unintentionally there, being forced to do so by the physics engine in rFactor 2. So yeah, you got to say Mesa will be very grateful, I think, for the restart, because this car almost certainly was quite badly damaged by that.
Yeah. I think it definitely was damaged with that sort of, because the contact box is already.
Oh, we have a comment from Loic Moynier in the chat, by the way, who says, "Bro, Mesa's luck is crazy." So I think that's kind of unlucky to be flipped like that, personally, but you can sort of understand with that just being an absolute mess why they'd want to restart it there. But yeah, let's hope that whatever happened with Lassie Lightning's connection is not a sign of more deep-seated issues to come. Because yeah, whatever it was, it did look to just be temporary then. So as the grid reforms, the Lassie Lightning once again looking to lead the field away from pole position here. And yeah, I think it's definitely the story of these early laps are going to be essentially our top 5, maybe top 6 if Cantoneri can get involved as well, as we see formation lapper is moments away from being released, and away we go then. So Lassie Lightning might just pull that extra car length to Mesa this time just to prevent anything from happening. But there you go, fourth pole position of the season with Luis Mesa alongside him on the front row. Domenico Scarpelli and David Akayan make up row 2. So highest ever start for the Italian Scarpelli in FSR Pro. Row 3, our championship leader Cedric Bill, joined by Giuseppe Canzoneri. Then on row 4, it's Christian Glamseder, joined by the Hungarian Nando Marsa. On row 5, we have the Super Swede Dano Bramfom, joined by Philip Savinsky, who rounds up the top 10. And then on row 6, we have Victor Bernat and Zabralekis. Row 7 is all competition. The 2 Frenchmen, Kevin Morville and Jean-Michel Garnier, 13th and 14th. Then on row 8, we have Percy Smiram, the local driver, in 15th, with Lucas Viscott for close company. Row 9, we have Rares Toma for Mission 19 Velo 1 GP, joined by Jared Batala. Row 10 is Leila Petraglia and Andrea Capello. Row 11 is Mihaila Vincentievich and Terry Crawford. And our final driver on the grid will be David O'Reilly. And I seem to have read this wrong. It looks like Crawford is starting from the pit exit, and O'Reilly is going to start from 23rd position grid slot on the grid, which is essentially 22nd, with Crawford having to start the race behind him. Oh, and there is Terry. Interesting angle to start the race from. He spun trying to get to the... Oh, okay, he's on the pit entry somehow. Has Terry forgotten which way the track goes? I hope not. It doesn't seem characteristic of him. There we go. I see what he's doing here. So he's trying to make sure he's not having the tyres too cold then, at least as he's trundling to the exit of the pit lane. As you can see the grid forming on the left-hand side. Yeah, interesting tactics there. I think he was trying to pull it out of the garage there. So the Australian, this is 4D chess that Terry Crawford is playing. He's certainly trying to get the one-up on everyone. As he trundles the edge of the pit lane, we're about to see the formation lap end, and the red lights come on. So yes, Latin on a pole position on the left-hand side. Luis Mesa alongside him on the right then, and we're yet to see which tyres they're all starting. It looks like Mesa may well have taken the risk on the softs. We'll have to see halfway through the first lap what they've all gone for to confirm for sure then. But the crucial round, midpoint in the championship then. Yasser Lattinen 7 points behind Cedric Bill, who starts 5th on the grid. Can he close that gap then? So everyone's on the grid, so I can only assume they're waiting for Crawford to get to the exit of the pit lane and wait patiently at the red light. There we go. He's in position. Everyone's in position. So
I
then,
saw something about Glomsetter. Glomsetter's fine.
okay. Well, just now we play the waiting game, ladies and gents. Is Mesa just a little bit aggressive to the left-hand side in his starting box there? He hasn't gone too far forward, which is the main thing, so he should get away with that. It's very Verstappen-esque. But here we go. 2 lights, 3, 4, and then a 5th. And when they go out, the Canadian Grand Prix will be underway, and it is a decent getaway from Yasser Lattinen, but Luis Mesa trying to pull alongside to the outside, but cannot take the inside for the second corner there, and then it is all fairly one after the other in the top 5 here. But you can see Cancellieri has been picked off by Glamsetter for optimal trophy. So Christian Glamsetter, the Dane, getting up, Norwegian, sorry, getting up into P7 as we see Perseus Miram now starting P15, now in P14. He's trying to go around the outside of Jean-Michel Garnier, but not quite able to complete that move. So Miram in his home race will have to stay behind. But Leila Petraglia, starting P19, has gained 3 spots past Vincentievich and Batala, among others. And now she's all over the back of Perseus Miram here. So the ELK, is it? Oh, it's just L. There we go. Trying to, we go. Oh, there we go. Leila Petraglia out of control into the hairpin and taps Perseus Miram around. Oh dear, you could see Leila was trying to get out of that one, but could not. The rest of the car back under control in time, and oh dear, it looks like somebody has lost their front wing there. That's Vincentievich.
Yeah, that's very unfortunately after going to the pit. I just saw Victor Berna and Nando Marsa both retiring already.
Oh
So-
dear, that's just some sort of collision then.
It's already happened.
As we cut back to the leaders and confirmation then, everybody in the top 6 apart from Luis Mesa on the medium tyre. So Mesa on the soft, and oh, the rear end misbehaving through 3 and 4 there, but he's putting Lattinen under real pressure, and for Mesa's strategy to work, he's got to find a way through essentially. As we cut back to Cancellieri, he's got back ahead of Glamsetter, interesting. So Glamsetter had the better getaway on the soft, but it looks like Cancellieri's used DRS to breeze back through, but will Christian Glamsetter return the favour at the next opportunity? Cedric Bill just ahead of them as well, and Bill is starting to lose touch with Akayan ahead of him. So this is not what Cedric Bill really would have had in mind then. He's not made progress, and he's falling into Cancellieri's clutches.
And Cancellieri and Glamsetter are both eager to try and get a top 5 position added for here today. You can just already starting to see, it's already lap 2, we're already seeing sort of grips starting to develop between Lattinen and Mesa, then a sizable gap between Scarpelli and Akayan.
Akayan having a go at Scarpelli there, weaving all over the straight, trying to find a way through. Oh my goodness me, and round goes Glamsetter at the final corner, and he has had to cut across into the runoff there to just get out of everybody's way. So good thinking actually from Christian Glamsetter there to get off of the racing line, but he rejoins just ahead of Leila Petraglia, who's amazingly gone up to 16th, despite that incident we just saw where she was out of control into the hairpin. So Leila, just by keeping her head after that, has nearly gotten herself into the points with those soft tyres then. But yeah, we saw with Glamsetter, even the softs are struggling a bit to sort of maintain control of the rear there. So yeah, Glamsetter having a huge spin that's cost him a lot of time and positions there.
Overall, also a very good improvement. He's put the competition car into P11 here. Oh goodness me, Thomas bit off on the grass. The Hicks, is that going to allow for his blue teammate of Anya to make ahead? Dwayne C through to turn 10 hairpin they go. Have a wider exit there for Thomas, but Sean electing to take an early line. He's going to utilize the slipstream to his advantage. And Mesa still closing up a little bit up ahead. You can just see already Morville trying to make a move on Driscoll, unable.
And there goes
does make the move on Thomas to follow his teammate.
There we go, but good exit actually. It's all brief yellows in front of them, but Toma has got back alongside down the start-finish straight. It's Rose Toma, but he didn't have DRS unfortunately, so Garnier able to maintain that position then. So this is turning into Still a good start for Toma because he started 17th and now he's very solidly in the points in P13. 2 top 10 finishes to his name in Japan and last time out in Baku for Reyes Toma, who's the youngest driver in the field by quite some margin. I'm not sure if he's turned 14 yet, but we'll have to see. But yeah, Reyes Toma, the Romanian, really in the thick of battle, and now he will get DRS on Jean-Michel Garnier. So we look at Akayan, who was weaving, looking for a way through to take that final spot on the podium away from Scarpelli, not able to do so, and all this dueling has allowed Cedric Bill to slowly catch back up, but he's dragged Canzonieri with him as well. So Bill may have to get aggressive here. As you can see, Akayan not getting DRS from Scarpelli, and that allows Bill to fly through with the DRS on the back straight. So now Cedric Bill up to P4, crucial for the championship leader, while his main rival is leading, and Mesa not able to get through yet on the soft tires, but he is certainly trying to break late into turn 1 to just move around in the wing mirrors of Gasly Lattinen here.
I think if he could just stay behind him for a little bit more, then a move can definitely be on the cards. Already was receiving lap traffic so early on. Vicentievic, I think I just saw, did receive a penalty of some sort, so had to do a trip down pit lane already so early on. So hopefully he can recover. Was that Crawford actually, who also had to go into the pits for some reason? Oh, it actually went off track as well.
Oh dear, Crawford showing his 2 laps down on. There we go. That would be why he's stuck at the 8-9 chicane, waiting for the pack to clear. So he's clearly, I think, either spun or gone really deep into the chicane, and he's had to essentially go another lap down. So he started from the pit lane. He's had another trip to the pit lane, and now he is stuck in the runoff there essentially. But here comes Luis Mesa, closer and closer, but not close enough into the final chicane to do a dive into 13 and 14. But now Scarpelli is under attack from Cedric Bill. Bill making great progress here. He's picked off Akayan, and now he's picked off Scarpelli as well, and got himself onto the podium as here comes Akayan trying to fight back against Canzonieri. This time the German has got the DRS, goes deep into turn 1, just about gets it stopped in time there. So good little battle between these two. Oh, Canzonieri bumps the back of Akayan as if to say speed up, and now that's enabled Savinsky to get involved here for Optimal Hosting as well. So Optimal Hosting behind him, Optimal Trophy in front of him, and now Canzonieri's teammate Bradfom is starting to catch up to this fight as well then. So it is getting a little bit physical here, and Canzonieri's seen Bill escape up the road, and he's hoping he can do the same very, very quickly here.
Got a glance that is doing really well to recover from the mishap from the spin through to the final chicane, and is already up to the P14 into Baker, Morgan, Toma and Garnier just little by little, and he's got pretty much all the time in the world to do so. Mesa and Latin, even though they've got the DRS, don't think they're ever going to be really close enough to make the move. Mesa's always so close, but I think the question is if he's going to make the overtake, because Latin is already defending into the inside line. I don't think Mesa wants Latin to, or boy, I think Mesa doesn't want to lead a race at the moment. I think he still wants Latin to just lead a little bit for the time being. Could be
okay,
a
so is this is this up? Oh, as we see a massive twitch on for Lasse Lattinen as the rear tires clobber over the curb. Then Glam Setter, really getting into side-on combative action with Jean-Michel Garnier there, and I think Garnier almost didn't know what hit him there. Glam Setter really is taking no business out there as he's already up to P12 then. While we were away, he picked up Aleckis and Garnier's. Petraglis has a spin at a turn 3. Just about keep inside wall, doesn't quite reverse into no, he does. She does hit David O'Reilly, and that was not the best. It's a horrible position for Layla. She's trying to get out as best she can, but unfortunately I think she's David O'Reilly. Please don't slow as well. Oh dear, I don't think David is race director is going to be terribly impressed with Layla after that 1 second.
And
there's David.
We're into
Quite
suspension
significant
as well,
damage
so it's
to the
going
car.
to be going to be a really big struggle to go into the pits there, but just problem with street circuits in general is just not a lot of visibility, and Layla kind of spun in a very awkward spot where
it is kind of blind. The problem is if she stays on the inside or the outside, it's kind of both as bad as each other, because people will be racing at that one. You can see the front wing of, I believe that is O'Reilly just hanging by the side of the track there as Lattinen and Mesa pass it. But yeah, luckily the yellow flag incident is clear, so the race can continue for everybody else. O'Reilly has made it to the pit lane. believe Petraglia's still got her front wing, so she should be able to continue, albeit oh no, she doesn't. Oh, she did lose it. There we go. And you can see the Irish flag on the nose cone of the elk car there. So certainly not a glorious moment for the home nation, is it, Amir? Sadly, they're on race, you're commentating with me on Layla, and that happens. But here comes Luis Mesa then, having another go with the DRS, almost alongside to the outside, but not really far enough to make a move there. And Lattinen is sort of anticipating Mesa's movements quite sensibly. Look at the gap they've got to Cedric Bill, 7 seconds already. It definitely feels like Bill either is trying to save tyres, or he hasn't quite got the raw pace of either of them ahead of him. They're about 3/10 or so at least quicker per lap. As here we go, Savinsky on the soft tyres, up the inside of Kanzeri, late on the brakes, over the curb, and just about, I guess it turned in and stopped in time there. That was an ultra aggressive move from Filip Savinsky, but the pole is through into 6th, and Kanzeri will have to trail him for now.
I saw Glamsetter as well. Did make his way past Gagne and Glamsetter, and Morville will be the next on his list to get into the top 10.
Or there's
Already
Layla
great
getting out of the
recovery.
way after having visited the pit lane. So again, sort of don't want the same thing to happen through those corners. So Layla understandably taking it quite easy as we see Kanzeri getting close to DRS into 8 and 9, which is not usually an overtaking spot because it's very tight and it's quite a high speed chicane. So you do need to have quite the overlap and the difference in tyre life to pull off a move there. As there is Kevin Morville now, the Frenchman, under pressure from Christine Glamsetter. And Kevin Morville, of course, who sat out last year, but he was a fairly semi-regular competitor in FSR. A couple of goes at World Championship and Pro as well, particularly. Used to drive for a Super Venturion and then later the Competition team. And it's really good to see him just back behind the saddle and challenging for the top 10 here. But Christine Glamsetter, though, still able to get good performances out of the softs. We're 10 laps in, which of course is 6th into the race, and the softs are still holding up fairly well. So the medium runners will be hoping the softs are forced into a much earlier stop than they'd ideally want them. It doesn't look like many of the soft tire runners are taking it easy at this point. Not least of all Glamsetter, who's had that half spin.
Well, I think the biggest surprise I have with Glamsetter, it's not only just through the spin, but he's still seems to be managing it quite well, although he could be running it much more aggressive than the others. And we might see him to be the first of the soft runners to come to the pits. And that won't be a surprise. I think from the position that he's in a really good position to maybe get up as high as 6th with a good strategy.
Quite possibly, and we'll have to wait and see. As Glamsetter nearly loses it completely through the 8-9 chicane. And this creates an opportunity for rarest Tomer on the medium. So if you abuse the softs, the rear will not hang on for a high-speed chicane like that. And now rarest Tomer is one truly in DRS range. Problem is Glamsetter will still be getting DRS from Morville, so that might save him here.
Well, Bramhall making the move past Savinsky before the final chicane. Pretty good move there.
Savinsky's lost 2 places then to both the valets. So Kanzeri and Bramhall doubling up there to gang up on him with the DRS then. So yeah, we are getting into the sort of territory where the soft tire lap times are falling down as we see Tomer just trying to remind Christian Glamsetter that he's still there by getting fairly late on the brakes and laying up the rear tyres on the exit of turn 2 there. But look at the soft tire lap times. Luis Mesa last lap to 1:13.3, so he's sort of setting pretty much the same lap times as Lattinen in front of him. Filip Savinsky 1:15.2, about 2 seconds slower than Kanzeri and Brownfarm around him. Glamsetter 1:14.6 then, and we also got Zabraleki's 1:15.8 and Jerabatala 1:14.6 as well then. So some of them dealing with the drop-off a little bit better than others, of course. But the softs were always the aggressive strategy that you needed to make the ground early on. At the moment, it's not working out too well for Filip Savinsky as he's dropping down. And Glamsetter, of course, trying in vain at the moment to get past Morville, but now he'll have another dose of DRS, and this time Tomer a little bit too far back to give him any trouble here. So can he get the run on the competition driver? He gets, has a sort of movement to the inside, but Kevin Morville on the mediums has sort of found his rhythm now and tries he might. Glamsetter can't quite shake him out of it. Also, literally keep an eye on Savinsky, who's under pressure from Viscott, slightly up the road. Viscott started P16, has made good progress in these first 12 laps here, and that's good points for MV Conquest.
I think I'm just seeing from the timing screen to my... Oh goodness me, that's a little different club setter. Mesa is slightly losing a bit of the momentum to Latin, and I think it's very good that we have leaders on different compounds, because it kind of gives us commentators and us the viewers kind of a reference point to know when the softs are dropping off compared to the mediums. So if we see it like drop to out of the DRS range, so we know that like that's
Toma in the wall.
That was, yep. Jeez, goodness me.
There we go. So rare is Toma. You saw him just get a little bit on the grass, got a little bit out of shape, lost his composure slightly, and tapped the wall. Is the steering damaged? He had a massive twitch on. I think he's it looks fairly straight then, as I think there's Glamstad having another go at Kevin Morville. This time a lot closer. He's got the overspeed. Will the top speed of the optimal trophy car land through up the inside? Yes, it will. Morville are now trying to nip back up the inside on exit there as Glamstad, I believe, tapped the wall. Morville might just be able to nip ahead even without DRS then if he's late on the brakes, but no, decides not to risk it. Christy Glamstad just about gets it stopped in time, and they're still side by side there, so good to see Kevin Morville refusing to yield. He'll have the inside for turn 3. Is he far enough alongside? No, not quite. But again, forces Glamstad to compromise his exit, and Toma in the wall! Oh my goodness me, he's done almost exactly what we saw later Petraglia do.
Yeah, and that's continue on, but without the front wing, which will be requiring an urgent trip to the pit stops for the Romanian. I was going to say, fantastic battle there between Morville and Glamstad. I almost thought Glamstad had it in the bag after the final chicane, but again, a little bit top of the wall. And Glamstad also went way too deep into the first corner, which gave Morville a fighting chance. It's a bit of a shame to just kind of concluded into turn 4, but again, that's the magic that Montreal brings.
Yeah, there we go. So Glamstad, of course, knows the softs are fading quite spectacular in his case, so he had to get that move done when he did. And poor Rares Toma, well, he could still, if he keeps going, continue his point-scoring streak, but yeah, that's a huge setback, and you have to say he had a lucky escape hitting the wall at turn 9 the lap before, but this time the front wing was very much collateral damage. So this could well put him a lap down with the likes of Petraglia, Vincentiovic, and Crawford then.
We don't know very much how the race is going to develop, so I think it might be hard to see now. But with how these races going, especially in street circuits with enough attrition, maybe we could see Vincentiovic or Leila, if they continue to survive, challenge for point scoring.
Yeah, we still don't know what happened to Master and Burnout on the first lap. I suspect they may have clashed into each other. So we haven't heard anything from the chat, as here comes Mesa again with the DRS, but again, couple of car lengths too far back. I wonder if Latinum may be using either a little bit of push to pass, or as you say, Mesa is deliberately backing out of the move here in an attempt either to save tyres or just to force Latinum to burn through his tyres, essentially, and to help out his teammate Bill, who's on the same strategy as Latinum, about albeit 9 seconds down the road, effectively.
Bell's done very good. He's gone up a couple of places up in the third, but he's still about 10 seconds away. And Mesa's kind of on the soft comments. He's kind of forcing Latinum, even though he's not overtaken him. Oh my goodness, that he managed to
the rears are going. So Mesa might be forced into an early stop here then.
He's out of DRS range, so he's not able to hold on to the same pace as Latinum is. And again, the softs will degrade much quicker than the mediums in this case. So I think that's the true sign that it is kind of falling a bit off a cliff. Do you want to have a look for the replays to have seen what has happened at the start of the race?
Possibly. I think Mesa's just about to go into the pits, but we can see what happened and then come back, assuming that nothing too dramatic will happen at the pit stop then. By the way, Rose Toma is the first driver to put the hards on. It'll be interesting to see what his lap times are, as it looks like Mesa is continuing then, as we see, it is Toma on the hards, just behind who haven't been lapped by the two leaders then. So he's the first of our lapped cars, and so he's going out ahead of Leila Petraglia by a good few seconds there. But anyway, yeah, so I guess we might have to wait a little bit longer for the first stops then, if Mesa's deciding he needs to get longer stint length here so he can go, I assume, 2 sets of mediums to the end is what he's thinking of, maybe, rather than 1 set of hards.
So too, but
in comes Glamstad. So he's decided he's had enough, and that is understandable after having to chew through his tyres in that stint. Miram is all over the back of Jean-Michel Garnier then. Garnier having to really play a defensive game against the Miram, of course, the local driver here. He will know this circuit fairly well, and of course desperately want to do well in his home event then, and he's currently in P12 in the points, but a couple of drivers like Glamsetter behind will be on fresher tyres then, so Miram himself may know that he's got to get through quickly, because even these mediums will not last forever here. Oh, and Miram onto the grass then through turn 9 as Leda Petraglia is trying to unlap herself from these two in the background there. Leda's actually a bit further behind Rose Toma than I thought, by a good, I think, 20 seconds at least, as, Layla just avoids the wall and is certainly going aggressive out there on lap 17 of 60 then. So let's remind ourselves of the order. Lattinen, 1.7 seconds ahead of Louise Mesa. Cedric Bill is 10 seconds off the lead. Then we have Scarpelli a further 3 seconds behind, holding off David Akheim. Then it's the two valleys of Cantoneri and Brownbaum, 6th and 7th. Savinsky yet to pit off the softs in P8. Viscott is 9th, and Kevin Morville currently holds on to the final position in the top 10. Then, as we see later, Petraglia locking up her mediums as she closes in on Perseus Miram then. Now, the thing is, Layla would have been fighting before she had to have that crash and had to change front wing with Perseus Miram in 4th position. So she's got pretty good pace relative to the ground effect man, as there we see Rares Toma in a battle with Capello for 16th position on track here. And I think Rares should be a little bit faster than the Italian here again.
Tires, and he's going able to utilize them as best as he possibly can. Clean sweep overtake before the chicane means that Toma is just about a position away from scoring here.
So Rares Thomas 1:14.7 on the hard tyres. I wonder if maybe any of our front runners, particularly those on the softs, might be tempted to try and one stop on the hards, as they're that's what happened to David O'Reilly. He completely overheated the engine. So I think it's not just O'Reilly that was frustrated there, as he saw later escape in front of him with the new front wing. But yeah, I think understandable frustration for O'Reilly, because he was on the scene at exactly the wrong moment as Later was trying to get out of harm's way.
On first, I think O'Reilly might have burned his engine a bit too much. If you run it for that long, it's much more prone to overheating. So
yeah, I think we didn't see any of him in qualifying, and we've only seen him do a couple of laps in the race, sadly. So it's a very short day for David. Okay. He tried to get going again. I wondered David went off to do something else, and then by the time he came back, the engine had gone. Oh dear. Well, either way, the point scoring streak will not continue. This is what happened to Bernat and Mars. Bernat is tagged by Sabra Leckies there, and there's they tangle wheels and they get sort of stuck into each other and then into the wall then. So it's just really bad luck, because somebody else is crashing in the background ahead of them as well.
Just listen. What, Marsa?
Could be. It might explain why he sort of got swallowed up by the pack. So let's see his start here. Pulling to the outside. It gets tapped in the back. Ooh. So he's already damaged. I think it was one of the optimal hosting of trophy cars that hit him. Savinsky, by the way, is in the pits as we're watching this. So he's pit out of P8. There goes Brand Bomb. And then, just hit in the back by one of the very similar liveried optimal hosting of trophy car. That wasn't Glamsetter, was it? It was either Glamsetter or Savinsky, I think. So really unlucky Fernando, and indeed for Victor Bernat as well, because Bernat had shown some really good performances. I'm trying to remember where he finished in the last race he did. This is Petraglia, just clattering and spinning around Miram there. You got to feel sorry for a little bit for both of them, really. Miram especially, and then this was the mess that happened after, as Vincentievich sort of got caught up with, I think there was a Leckies trying to go side by side, and he was on the outside, and just got the front wing taken out as a consequence.
So Nando Marsa, I think we could catch why Marsa retired?
Or steering damage. So he had two big incidents where he was basically fairly innocent in both of them, it has to be said.
Who else? Vincentievich, I think, was it his penalty was speeding, I think, in the pit lane, I believe.
Okay, well that explains the way he is down in 19th then. and effectively the last driver still going in the race. Either way, it looks like Mesa has pit, I think, and fallen to P6. As we see, this is how Vizedjevic lost that front wing. Oh, he had a spin. There we go. And as he was rejoining, collided into the side of Layla. So kind of messy from the both of them there. Away then. At least Vizedjevic and Petrankovic still in the race, though. But as I was saying, Mesa's pit from P2 finally. And he's gone, interestingly, for another set of softs. So he's yet to use a different compound in this race. That has put Bill up to P2. And Scarpelli up to P3. So Scarpelli under attack a little bit from David Akhayan there. As I look at this, they're all getting DRS as they lap some of the back markers. Oh my goodness me, Mesa in the wall, and Mesa flips over. Oh dear, for the second time. And Luis Mesa is out in spectacular circumstances there. So we rejoin at exactly the worst possible moment for Luis Mesa. Our second optimal driver is out of this one. And that, well, it makes things a lot more straightforward for Jesse Lattinen, it must be said. But poor Luis Mesa was swerving to avoid, was that Rare's Tomer, I think? He was lapping in front of him and just completely lost control and couldn't even make it into the pit entry there. So a horrible end to his race. Okay, it's got to be the fellow.
Speed differential's already insane.
I think he was slowing down to let him through, and he didn't realize Mesa was that close. So lucky he didn't take out, I think that was a Cantonerio Brandfarm going through the chicane in front of him as Mesa was out of control there. Oh.
It wasn't.
Oh, it was somebody else, sorry.
Hello.
It was Andre Capello, all right. So he'd slowed down already, and then I think he suddenly slowed down again when he saw the blue flags. And then he sees the calamity in front of him. But yeah, Luis Mesa with not a lot of time to react. Capello, I think, was playing it a little bit too safe. It's a little bit like slowing down on the motorway, essentially. You can make things even more dangerous sometimes if you just suddenly come to a stop.
That's already Bill is now complete without a teammate to help him fight for Yes and No. Yes, he now has his prime contender, race winning contender, retires.
Oh, there's David Akhayan pitting. He's the first of our leaders on the mediums to pit then. But yeah, certainly this is all kicking off, isn't it? As we see Savinsky on the fresh mediums get past Miriam, but then completely cut the chicane. He made the move before the chicane, and Miriam is coming into the pits anyway, so won't have to get that position back. But lucky escape there for Filip Savinsky. And I think, as you were about to say, Amir, a lot of attrition in this one. I don't know if you're cutting out on my end or if it's a stream thing as well.
I'm not sure. But,
okay, I'll just keep.
This is going to be a pretty long race. We're still lap 22 out of 60, may I remind you. We have seen probably the crash of the season thus far.
Well, Mesa sort of had one in the first formation lap attempt as well. That was arguably, but that one was even more scary, if anything. So,
what was it that movie?
Whoa! And Lada's out of control again, and it's backwards into the wall, and has lost the front wing. So, Lada was trying to get out of everyone's way, and I think just spun up the rear tires again. So, Petrankovic will have to make another visit to the pit lane, and that could yet let Capello through into P16 then. So sort of similar to Baku, Petrankovic may have lost 2 front wings already, but she's kind of got to keep going, and she might be able to still be in a fight for the final couple of points positions, such as the attrition around her that she has avoided at least most of for the most part. But yeah, either way, now Jesse Lattinen has got a 13-second lead over his championship rival Cedric Bill. Of course, the gap between winning and second is 4 points as well. So if it finished like this, Cedric Bill would be in the lead at the championship, but only by, I think, 3 points there as Batala puts on a new set of tyres. He's switching from the softs to the mediums, I believe.
I think that'll last him a good few laps, maybe about 16, 17 or so. Lattinen's in the pits.
Oh, there we go. So he is the first to blink of our drives in the lead. He's going for softs for this stint. Very quick stop, actually, for MV Conquest there. So Lattinen nailing it in his pit marks there. As you see Petrankovic getting the new front wing put on in the background. Cedric Bill will now take the lead, but Jesse Lattinen will come out not far behind. It's a very short pit lane here. So doing maybe a two-stop strategy is not necessarily disadvantageous here. So Bill, even if he's able to really stretch his medium stint, it may not necessarily hurt him here. The only thing I think Bill might be tempted to do is really stretch the mediums, switch to the softs fairly late on and try and one-stop it here. But it depends how well the mediums can hold up to this kind of punishment, is the only thing. Whereas Latner can afford to just do 2 soft stints here.
Canzoneri's almost applying the pressure enough to Scarpelli to make a move. I mean, since their time of... Oh my goodness me. Owen manages to save it on the exit out of the Turnitin hairpin. It'll be smooth sailing for Bill and Latinen. I think with Latinen again having pressure tires, I think he'll just be only a matter of time before it gets past. But the question is how much...
Or Bill in the pits. There we go. Can only go 1 lap longer then, so Latinen will retake the lead without too much of a contest in this instance, and it looks like Scarpelli and Canzonieri coming in. Canzonieri just lay on the brakes, but just avoids getting, I think, a speeding penalty, although it was quite tight there.
What was the speed limit on Montreal, like? See?
Yeah, it's only Silverstone where it's 60, I think. It depends what it is on the pit entry. I forget off the top of my head. Maybe somebody in chat can inform us, but either way, let's see where they'll filter out back into the race. So Morville is now up to 4th, amazingly, ahead of Savinski, and there's Scarpelli coming out side by side with Philip Savinski then, and that enables opportunity for Canzonieri to opportunistically get up the inside of Scarpelli there. So Canzonieri taking advantage of the disruption to make the pass on the soft test. So Scarpelli is our 3rd driver to go for the hards then, so he's gone contra to everybody else here. So that's why Scarpelli didn't have the grip right when he needed it the most there.
A good move, very good move there by Canzonieri to find the opening and make his way on through it. I think Savinski being defensive kind of caught Scarpelli by surprise. But depends how well Canzonieri can get past Savinski, then either it will be cemented or he'll find himself under pressure again. But Savinski and Morville that are currently 4th and 5th are not going to be that easy to overtake. But on the other hand, they are going to probably go to the pits very soon.
There we go. So Canzonieri gets past Savinski and now have another dose of DRS on the back of Kevin Morville here. He's gone up the inside into turn 1. Morville yet to go to the pits. Surely not going to fight this too hard. Slots in just ahead of Philip Savinski then. So Savinski pit, I think he's the one who pit very, very early in the race, didn't he, for his mediums, whereas Morville yet to come in for any service. He's done the entire race so far on the mediums, as has Dano Brownfarm, who's up the road in P2 then. So Valet split the strategies with their 2 cars. Brownfarm doing the super save long stint on the mediums there. Bill, by the way, sets the purple sector then. So he realizes now the only way he's going to get in contention for winning this race if he tries to cut into that gap to Yasso Latinen ahead of him.
Sorry.
Earth to Amir. Right, sorry. It's a little bit like doing a call with people, satellite link, so they do interviews and they have to wait for the answer or whatever. So here we go then. Morville about to be DRS slipstreamed by Philip Savinski. Savinski overtakes before they get to the pit entry. Will Morville dive in behind? Yes, he will. Oh, Scarpelli almost doesn't know quite what to do there and didn't realize he had to actually make the corner as Morville was distracted by Morville getting into the pits in front of him. So he cuts across the chicane, doesn't lose too much time, but those hard tyres though, it's a question of can Scarpelli get to the end without making another stop, because surely that's the strategy here, and can he use this to get on the podium? Because surely Canzonieri is going to pull away on the softs, and Savinski potentially as well on the mediums then. So it's a case of how close can he stick with them in this particular stint, because surely near the end, if they're close enough coming out their final pit stop, they have a great chance to breeze back past him.
I think Scarpelli is... I don't think he's... I wouldn't say he's unhappy. But I think it would be at his best preference to have been behind Canzonieri as much as he possibly can. And the fact that both of them just pitted and now the gap is already 5 seconds after a couple of laps. Yeah, it's interesting to see how this develops. I think Scarpelli shouldn't be too worried because, again, they're on vastly different compounds, softs and hards. So they're both playing it very differently. And Scarpelli, I think, can afford to be behind Savinski for just a couple laps more than Canzonieri is. But the thing is now up to Katsunari to see whether he can, utilize the softs that he has and push it for as much as it's worth in this stint. That's a big question.
Yeah, I was just looking at the pit stop for David Akayan. His pit lap was 1 minute 49, whereas the typical pit lap is about 1 minute 30 or so for most of the field. So a very long pit stop for David Akayan, and that's why he's gone from fighting Scarpelli to being a couple of positions behind him in P9 essentially. So that's how Glamsetter and Viscott essentially have leapfrogged him. But Akayan, of course, on the softs, could still undo the damage and fight his way back up the orders. There's Yase Latinen now very much in the lead by 15 seconds over Branfom, who's yet to pit, and 16 seconds over Bill then. So Bill was caught rapidly up 2 seconds a lap on Branfom here. Of course, he's on the soft tyres. That's no surprise to see. So Cedric Bill needs to make the move on Branfom quickly here, just to make sure he isn't held up, because the last thing that Cedric Bill needs is for Cantoneri to muscle in into his second place battle, rather than him having been distracted from Blattner in the lead, who of course is his main title rival, of course. So Bill really needs that P2 to come out of this race still in the championship lead, but Branfom will be trying to help his teammate out here at Bowden.
Oh yeah, teammate. I thought you said on the conquest, and I thought Bowden was on the conquest, but I think that will allow him to get that benefit. I think the big question is if Bramholm can hold him back as long as he believes he can, just nearly approaching for the half distance. And as you said, Cedric has been really off the back foot, having started in P5. The only way he can get through past Latinen is to make this duel between himself and Bramholm as quick as he possibly can. Bramholm, he does really like to make things a bit difficult. See how it goes on the exit out to...
Well, by the way, we do have an answer on the pit lane speed limit. It is 80 miles per hour, not 60. But here we go. DRS open. Branfom was trying to weave to block the toe for Cedric Bill, but it's no use. Cedric Bill is through into P2, and Branfom, I'm sure, will be... how long is he going to extend now? We'll have to see then, as there's Viscott fighting away with David Akayan, who's got the fresher tyres and the softer tyres, it must be said. He breezes around the outside, despite Viscott's best efforts, and now Akayan is not far away from his teammate in the other Optimal Trophy, Christian Glamsetter. So surely Akayan will be on the move here soon in his bid to catch back up to Scarpelli, who's sticking right to the back of Filip Zawinski then. So the hards on Scarpelli, who's just set personal best lap of the race with the DRS, are actually working pretty well at the moment, all things considered.
Is that Lane without a front wing again?
Oh dear, that's a third front wing falling off scenario. And now Layla, just switches the inside. Luckily doesn't block anybody else too much. I've seen a lot of comments in the chat about the Luis Mesa retirement and the Andrea Capello not moving offline to lane him through, essentially. He decided to slow down on the racing line effectively. So there was a little bit of criticism there. Which, we'll have to see if there's a report filed or not. But yes, certainly Capello has it's a shame because we don't have the academy tier, so it feels like Capello's not really been given the chance to get up to speed in the sort of junior valet team, Scuderia Castellana, as we see the move being made there in front of them. That was, of course, Scarpelli getting past Zawinski then. So, yeah, is Filip Zawinski having pitted earlier for the mediums now starting to struggle here, I wonder, than compared to Scarpelli?
If you prolong it a little bit longer, then you can probably do maybe a hard difficulty, or if it pits now, you'll be bound to pit anyways. I think now with 29 to go, I think medium soft is going to be not going to be the best ideal for Zawinski, but I could be wrong.
Latinen, by the way, second fastest laps of the race, 1 minute 12.4. He is now nearly 20 seconds ahead of Cedric Bill here. So this is really feeling like a statement performance from Yase Latinen then. And yeah, the main threat to him was essentially Luis Mesa, who's been taken out of contention very sadly. So yeah, Bill may end up just being in a race for second here. As we see, here is Filip Zawinski trying to get DRS to get his own back. You see Scarpelli moved right to the inside very, very early to hold off the Optimal hosting car. And yeah, that proves to have paid off dividends then. So the hards, again, still holding up well to the pressure here. and Scarpelli's chances, though. The problem is, you can see Branfom and Canzoneri, who have swapped positions. It looks like Branfom was slow to let Canzoneri through. So I think there might be a chance to, because Branfom, as we see Zabralekis has spun coming out of the turn just after the hairpin and hit the wall as he gets out the way for, that's one of the MV Conquest guys. I think that was Latinen just getting through there. So lucky escape for Yase Latinen, but Zabralekis losing his front wing, and that could put him potentially behind Rarest Home as he comes into the pit lane.
Touching to Savinsky. I think even though he's on more mediums than Scarpelli is, I think this goes to show the sort of trouble that the hards have. Because there's not much tire wear, it's going to be much harder than in comparison to other tracks to pull away if someone's on a worn softer compound than you in a harder compound. And we're kind of already seen that between Savinsky and Scarpelli. Scarpelli will never have, a relaxation that Canzoneri had earlier with the overtake on Savinsky. And again, it's you just need to be a bit cool-headed and hopefully prevail.
Yeah, Branfom staying out as long as he has. His lap times have plummeted on the medium. 1 minute 16.1 last time around. He set a 15 lap before, and that's how Canzoneri was able to get through. And he's pulled 2 seconds away already. As there's Zabralekis coming out the pits with a new front wing. But you can see here, Scarpelli and Savinsky are starting to catch Branfom quite quickly. Only 5 seconds behind now. So it depends really how much longer can Dano Branfom realistically stretch out this stint. We're on lap 33 of 60, so we are beyond half distance. But Branfom, to my mind, is holding out for the soft tier. He doesn't want to switch to the hards and get to the end.
DRS, I think that might be lap traffic. Crawford is into the pits again. Bill was, I think. Wait. Yeah?
Oh dear. Don't tell me Layla's lost the front wing on the out lap. That is
no, it's not the out lap. It's her first time lap, I think it was, that she lost it.
Okay. Oh, well, that is unfortunate for Layla Petraglia then. But yeah, certainly, as we said, in a race of attrition, you do just sort of have to keep going then. At 34 or 60, Branfom does finally pit. Yeah, his lap times were sinking through the floor then, so he kind of had to act. Oh, he was going to be in trouble then. So he's been forced to go onto the softs fairly early, so that's committed him essentially to the 2-stop, I believe. Unless he can stretch the softs out as well, which I would be very impressed by.
Double stint the softs, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of them are doing. So he might be forced. He could
like
do a more aggressive double
really
stint. It's true.
The thing is, like, Bramwell has to really push, and I don't know if that's... Well, I think it could be possible, but is it going to be the best ideal for it? I do know, like, everyone will be trying to double soft it, but they have, like, different ways of doing it. They'll either do it with, like, a medium or a hard. I'm just wondering, like, if there is enough of a time frame so to go, or it's possible. Canzoneri, I think. Yeah, that's just lap traffic again.
There's Akayan closing in on Christian Glamsetter, his teammate, and they're both starting to close on Savinsky and Scarpelli in their 4th place battle now, with Branfom, of course, having pit out of the way. That releases them, and you can see here Akayan is clearly a bit quicker at the moment. Look at their last lap times. David Akayan 113.1, Glamsetter 113.7 on the older mediums. So yeah, Akayan here will have to find a way through quickly if he wants to challenge Savinsky and then Scarpelli and get back into the top 4 here, because he had such a strong qualifying, such a strong start to the race, and pitting when he did, along with it being quite a long pit stop for whatever reason, maybe he missed his box or something happened. That has put him a bit further down than he'd ideally like then. Still, he could still be just about in sort of contention, at least for 4th, if not for the podium here. So Akayan sort of has to push on and make progress in this stint then, while he's got the softs and his competition ahead of him are on the harder tyres.
I didn't really expect Montreal to do this strategy heavy, to be honest.
I kind of warned it would be, because Pro is always very strategy heavy in FSR. As we see the 2 optimal trophy cars close to go. Oh, and Akayan has to cut the chicane, so that's going to cost him a little bit there. You could tell David that's getting a bit overexcited as he closes on Glamsetter in front of him. Yeah, these two both on sort of comebacks, aren't they, in this race, essentially, for various different reasons. So, yeah, Glamsetter and Akayan, the only team that has got both cars in the top 7, essentially, so that would be great for their team's championship, although honourable mention, too, to Competition, who've got both their cars in the top 12 at the moment. Bramfom, let's see what his laps are at the moment. He's only just said his first... Oh, he had a horrible lap, yes, okay. But on this first sector, 20.3 and a 22.8, so personal bests in the first 2 sectors there. And he's not really too far off what the leaders are doing in his fresh soft stand. So he's 13 seconds behind Viscott. He should be able to close that gap, as we see. Oh, is that Capello getting out of the way of the leaders? Indeed it is. He comes in just in front, actually, of Glamsetter.
But ugly. Glamsetter, I think, really did his best to hold on the brakes. Was not expecting Capello to go into the outside. You could just see it just narrowly skidded. That has kind of cost Christian a bit of crucial seconds there to Akayan.
Well, Akayan as well actually had to sort of overtake him as he was going into the final chicane there, so that was slightly less than ideal. As you see, the very similar grey and blue and black liveries of Savinsky, Glamsetter, Akayan doing battle over P5. Then Scarpelli's pulled about 2 seconds away from Savinsky in all of this, so this has worked out pretty well for the Italian on the hard. It's just a matter of how long will he be able to stay there before Akayan and Glamsetter arrive on the scene, because they're clearly a little bit quicker than Savinsky right now.
It could be really pretty close. And Savinsky's just doing his best to have a very trap. Depends on how Glamsetter and Akayan fights as well. If they will, you know, maybe give it their all between each other, look for ahead and see Savinsky just about a second away and think, okay, we'll maybe be able to catch him.
22 laps to go, of course. So we've got to start thinking about tyre life. There's some, like Bramfom, that pit as late as they did for their softs, that might be trying to get to the end here. We know Scarpelli is definitely trying to get to the end. There he is, just coming out of frame there. So all a bit tense so far. You see Lucas Viscott on the mediums has also been slowly catching on 1:13.6 that last lap round, so he gained about 4/10 on Akayan ahead of him. So Viscott having a good race as well, and this is important for NB Conquest in the Teams Championship, because Lucas Viscott, I believe, down in 21st, only one finish this season, 9th place in Bahrain, so it is vital for Viscott, the Croatian, the Czech Republic driver, sorry, to keep it clean and try and get to the end there. Sorry, I've been getting nationalities wrong all day, it feels like, apart from Percy's Miram, because it's his home race.
That's fine. Euro Milton Keynes a few days ago, I'm sure.
Yesterday, all of yesterday. It wasn't a few days ago, it was literally less than 24 hours ago. But here we go. Oh, mistake from Glamsetter, goes a bit long into the brakes at the hairpin there, and luckily he gets on the power in time. But you can tell Akayan, these softs, well, he's only got them working in his favour for a limited time, and it looks like, oh, Glamsetter pulls to the inside, knows the game is up, and decides to let through David Akayan without much more of a fight then. So he knows Akayan can make progress, and that will help him as all. That's Kevin Morville having a fight with Percy's Miram. Was that Miram going all the way around the outside of Morville there at the hairpin?
No, it was Miram. It was Morville going on to the inside. He's on the attack against Miram at the moment for P10. And still going to continue on through to the final chicane. Oh, DRS. Did I everything use DRS?
Oh, I didn't quite see. I think Morville has got it here. He's a little too far back. There we go, as the rear wing closes. But of course, both competitions have gone for the hards at their first pit stop, so they are running long in this second stint. And that could be why Miram on the mediums is a little bit quicker at the moment. But potentially, the hard, I think a lot of people have been caught out by how good the hard has been. They saw Toma doing it, and when they saw some of Toma's lap times in the mid 1:14, and thought, you know what, let's give it a go. And run long and see if we can gain track position, essentially, rather than having the freshest tyres at the end. So, yeah, this could work out for Competition, you never know. But even with Miram overtaking them now, there's every chance they could sneak at least one or both cars very solidly into the top 10 here.
That's well done, Toma, for being the first onto the hards.
He kind of had nothing to lose, to be fair, after losing the front wing. So.
It's not P14.
True.
Risk reward.
It's about 25 seconds behind Jared Batalla, who's only about 5 seconds behind Jean-Michel Garnier, but Garnier, oh, here we go, Morble using the DRS to go around the outside, a little bit of contact with Miriam there as well. Versus Miriam feeling a little bit rudely shoved out the way there, but there we go, that's the difference of the DRS, allowing Morble to instantly retake that position.
A very sizable gap as well to cap it all off at the exit of the chicane. Like no chance for Miriam to have followed through. Lekis has just caught up to Toma. This is going to be in a battle for P14. They were currently very comfortably, I think, in the point score position at the moment. So I think they both don't have real much to lose. Oh goodness me!
I was just looking at when Miriam had pitted, and I think it was end of lap 21. So yeah, he has been on those mediums a little while then. As we cut back to the Aleki's Toma battle, as you can see there.
Oh, well, never mind.
Oh, then they're quite far apart. There you can see, so it's not really a battle. Akine in. Okay, interesting. So Glamster's going to feel annoyed that he let him through now, because literally a few laps later, David Akine decided to make his final stop of the race with 19 laps to go. Surely another set of softs going on Akine's car, you would think. Here we go.
So,
looks like it.
That's it. Tommy has, yeah.
He'll come up just behind Bramfom. Of course, he's got a bit of an undercut on him. They're both going to the end. You've got to say Akine has got a good chance to get back through here.
Yeah, Akine's fresher softs. The problem, I think, if he is going to see these tires to the end, it's going to be such a heavy task on him, I think, to hold it in for that long. So I won't be surprised if he might call into the pits either in a couple of laps time or so.
Yeah, well, the strategy's still all to play out then. When are we going to see Latin and Bill Canzonieri coming off their softs? And are we indeed going to see Savinsky, Glamset and Viscop pit, or are they going to stretch the mediums out in this second stint? I suspect Glamsetter and Savinsky may have to, at least have to come in. I think Viscop pit fairly early as well. So I think all three of them may be in again, unless they've got a special trick up their sleeves on the tyre life on the medium. And indeed, Glamsetter immediately comes in, as if to underline my point there. So yeah, Scarpelli, of course, will continue on. He's about 12 seconds down on Canzonieri and about 20 seconds down on Bill. So I think Bill should be safe when he pits from Scarpelli, but Canzonieri may have to do the overtake on track there.
You see Glamset heading to the pits as well. He just exits out. Just
behind Akine. So there we go. So Akine, of course, well, Glamset let him through, and then he's been undercut as well. So Christian Glamset again with it all to do, but he will have the fresher set of tyres at least with 18 laps to do. You can see there Akine is all over the back of Bramfom like a cheap suit. As in comes our race leader for his final set of soft tyres. So he has to lighten it. Doesn't have to do anything too fancy here. He just has to nose it home, and it will be his second win in a row, and it will put him within 3 points of the championship lead then. Well, unless we don't know exactly what's going to happen to Cedric Bill in this one, as looks like one of the Seven Arrows cars just getting out of the way in time for Yasso Lattinen there, as Canzonieri is in too. So Bill decides to stay out, and even with that pit stop, Lattinen is still about nearly 7 seconds ahead of Cedric Bill there, which underlines the incredibly impressive job for the second race of the road. The sheer speed of Yasso Lattinen has certainly been something to behold in pro.
Lattinen's been astonishing great today. The only problem is we haven't quite seen what Mesa could have delivered on this moment, and I think we're sort of kind of a fantastic duel as a result from that. I think Cedric Bill's done absolutely his best to mitigate the damage that was caused from having started in P5. I think his pace was just not as good as Yasse's, which is a little bit of a shame, but as you said, if it finishes the way that he does and P2 is the best that he can do, then that's just holding on to the championship lead, which is honestly for the Frenchman the best that he can do. Just seeing with Canzonieri, he exits out for the pits, and I know he's trying to undercut Bill at the moment. He's coming out to a lot of traffic, and if he...
He's fighting Savinsky for position as well, which is the problem. So Bill comes in, and he knows he sort of had to respond, as you say, because the gap was about 6 seconds before the pit stop then. So a fresh set of softs go on, up to the final chicane, and Canzonieri has cleared Savinsky, crucially. Next target is Domenico Scarpelli, but Bill is comfortably going to get out of all of them.
Gansner maybe could have hoped that there would have been a less traffic, or if Bill could have stayed out for a couple more laps more.
Oh, you can see Scarpelli struggling here. Oh, almost leaving the door open there, but Kazuri again frustratingly stuck behind. So the gap to Bill is about what it was, unfortunately for him. And yeah, if anything, he's being held up a bit here by Scarpelli, who obviously... This is the problem where the hard tyres will really be difficult to manage then, because he's got more worn hard tyres and he's fighting off people on much fresher tyres. Ran the outside of the DRS into turn 8, goes Cantoneri, so decisive move, and he sort of had to there just to make sure he wasn't under any threat from Savinsky behind.
Difficult as Carpelli did. It's, again, very good.
Really snapping on him on exit at the hairpin there. So Savinsky may actually get an early opportunity here to pass him with the DRS. But yeah, it really is now turning into a battle for third in this race. As you see there, bit of DRS for Scarpelli's. Oh my goodness me! Was that Savinsky charging it? Okay, Savinsky had yet to do his final stop then. So actually, Scarpelli has got a little bit more of a gap to, I think, Viscott, who's also yet to pit in this stint then. So it'll be Akhayan who'll be next to challenge him. So we have to look at those lap times. 1 minute 12.0 for Akhayan. Him and Glamset are both cleared down over Brown Farm then. 1 minute 12.0, but Scarpelli 1 minute 14.5s then. So the difference in pace here, it should catch before the end if they can keep it up.
Joins right at the back.
Yeah, it's sort of odd timing really for Savinsky, because he started his medium stint on lap 19 previously, and he went all the way through to essentially lap 44. So yeah, he waited. He was quite long on the softs, and he's also been fairly long on this medium stint, and then gone back to soft. So he's sort of done the splitting it down the middle strategy essentially, and it's kind of a. He might be quite quick in this final stint, but again, as you say, he's lost track position, so he's given himself a lot of work to do for the final 14 laps, and people with relatively fresh tyres in front of him, apart from maybe Brown Farm, that might be fairly easy to catch here.
46 out of 60, still a handful of laps or so to go, I think. It's really hard to tell to see how these soft runners are going to do, especially from the ones that have paired earlier to the ones that are paired later. I think it's still, at least amongst offside, you and I, a little bit a big uncertainty to see if, well, even if Cantoneri can even hold on to P3, for instance. I mean, it's just with how many people are on the softs.
He's about 2.5 seconds ahead of Scarpelli, but interestingly, he was 4/10 quicker than Bill the previous lap. He's about 5.7 up the road, so Cantoneri's not giving up on P2 here. So Bill, to hold on to that championship lead, he might have a little bit of a fight in his hands against the very experienced Italian who knows exactly what he's doing here.
All he needs suddenly just a little bit of a sign of a fight still breathing, an opening. And Bill could find himself under kind of immense trouble. So even though Bill doesn't really have the lead to race for, he still has to race to hold on to that P2. It will be pretty impressive, honestly, if Cantoneri can overtake Bill for P2 at this rate, because I was not going to be expecting it. But Savinsky now with the DRS on Brantholm.
Yeah, there we go. Brantholm, this is the perils of pitting early. He got the track position, but he does not have the tyre life at this point to really fight. And you can see big lead already for Philip Savinsky, who sets off after Glam set it. And then we've got Akhayan another 4 seconds up the road. Oh, big twitch for Savinsky actually for the first 2 corners, so that won't help him at all. Yeah, Viscott is running really long in this stint. I think he really wants to push these softs in the final stint essentially. So, but the problem is he will come out behind Savinsky and maybe even Brantholm as well. So it's a case of you've got to hope those ahead of you pit just too early, like we saw with Brantholm. They've got to hope that Akhayan and Glamset have also pit too early for their soft tyres. As now we see versus Amir in a battle with Jared Batala, the Canadian. Now looking for P12 in his home race. The 7 hours of Batala, the Spaniard, is a little bit slower than him at this point. Of course, both on the softs and mediums respectively, I believe. So Miriam has pit fairly recently for these softs then, so he should, in theory, be in a much stronger position here, but he's got to make sure he doesn't trip up over Batala if he wants to complete this move. Yeah, 1 minute 13.7 for Miriam last, that 1:14.5 for for Battala then. So Battala starting to struggle a bit here. Ooh, too much curve for Miriam there. That's going to hurt his charge a little bit. And yeah, even in these minor points places, because of course Miriam is the sole remaining ground effect, so they need him to really score as much as they can here. And especially with the hard-running Morville and Garnier in the sort of high to mid 114s ahead of them. If Miriam is able to lap in the sort of high 113s, he might be able to catch before the end. But he's got Battala in the way before then. DRS open, not close enough to make the move into that final chicane.
It's Alecki's and... No, it's not that one though, but I'm going to have a try and go again into turn 1. It's not going to be close enough. Canzoneri has a bit of DRS from lap traffic, which will sort of aid in his pursuit to Bill. Still a lot, 5 seconds. I think it's still kind of closing in a little bit. Oh, Percy's so close to the wall as he utilizes all the track and more in terms of his battle with Battala. I think you could sort of see Battala's kind of coming really, really heavily under threat there for P12. And I think Miriam could be en route to get that position. I think come through the 12-13 chicane.
Here we go then. So Percy's Miriam a little bit closer, pulls her all the way to the left-hand side quite early, trying to take the shorter line towards the hairpin there. It makes very, very little difference. You sort of are kind of better off just sticking in the slipstream, honestly. But yeah, Miriam may be trying to use mind games here. Just to Battala just think, what is Miriam doing here? And that will put him off ever so slightly. You see Battala moving to the middle of the road, and Miriam again trying to feint to the inside before returning to the racing line there. 10 laps to go, and Percy's Miriam, well, he's got to throw everything at trying to get into the top 12 here. But, oh, he's not going to be late enough on the brakes to surely get alongside there. But he forces Battala to really slide the rear tyres out. And can he go all the way around the outside on the exit of 2 into 3? Surely he's going to be having to go too far along the outside, and he does back out there. So Battala holds on by the skin of his teeth there. But good driving between the two. I think Miriam forcing Battala into a mistake there, as in comes Viscott for his final stop with 10 laps to go. So Viscott is really worried about tyre life. He wants to push these sides.
Very, very late to have made the pit stop now, but it will at least have 10 laps of a soft stint in his hand. I was just seeing great battle there between Miriam and Battala. I think Miriam did manage to catch Battala off into turn 1, and that was going to be enough. But I think being on the outside...
Oh, dive at the hairpin. Sorry to interrupt you, Amir, but Percy Amir going really deep on the brakes and just keeping out of the wall there. So, yeah, ambition before adhesion, sadly, for Percy Miriam. And the brakes did not quite... you've got to be careful. You can run out of brakes if you use too much. And we saw it happen in Baku. DRS open again. This time he's got the run. Maybe a bit of push to bars used. And Percy Miriam is through into 12th position there. So, a great... Thought he had it covered and then got caught a bit by surprise halfway down the straight there.
The DRS and the slipstream are both really, really powerful. And I think Battala kind of used up all that he could give to Miriam in that previous lap. I think he was kind of left without much options at that rate, but still a fantastic battle. It did put Miriam into a lot of trouble for that situation. And where is he now? So he's currently into...
We also have a comment, by the way, from David O'Reilly. He's a couple of different things, but he also says, nice defending from Jared Battala. That's our guy. It's just like, oh yeah, it is, of course. Well, David, good to see David supporting his teammates, Battala and Alecki's 13th and 15th. So Alecki's just in the final points paying position and 2 laps ahead of Capello, who is the next nearest challenger. Sadly, we didn't mention at the time, but we did lose Leila Petraglia a little while ago in the race after, I think, the 4 front wing changes, sadly, for her. But nonetheless, points in Baku, so she can maybe get points in the future with a little bit of perseverance and maybe a clean race. Leila, I think, definitely deserves a clean race sooner or later, but I think we can say the same of a number of drivers in the field. So anyway, look at the gap up front. Lattinen 28 seconds now ahead of Cedric Bill, so this could be quite the margin of victory, possibly the biggest we've seen all season. And Yassir Lattinen, it almost feels like Lattinen is building up to do a late stop here to go for almost the fastest lap within the last 5 laps or so for another set of softs. And there's nothing in the rules that says you can't do it, yeah, probably unnecessary risk really, as we see Akhayan, by the way, lapping Norman at 12.2, but Domenico Scarpelli only 8 tenths slow. He's still second personal best on the hards. So That really shows that Scarpelli is pushing to try and hold off that 3-second margin to David Akine, and it's another 3 seconds to Glamsetter then, as we see, weaving from Miriam. He's not happy with Capello there on the exit of 8 and 9. So, anyway, I can't hear you, Amir, if you're talking, but we are still going with 7 laps to go. And Percy Miriam gets a bit of DRS from Andrea Capello there, interestingly, which enables him to pull even further away from Jared Batala.
Sorry, Ed. I just got a message from Thomas for why we saw Terry kind of have a bit of an off moment at the thing. His garage is on the pit entry lane. That's what we saw him parked in that moment. So we thought that, maybe it was my news.
It's SimSpot being put so far down the pit lane that it caused him to have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, in comes Toma.
That's
Interesting. So Toma, we've done a monster stint on the hards. He's decided he's going to finish 15th anyway. The gap he's got to Capello. He wants some fun on the softs, I think, in the final couple of laps. Oh dear, and Crawford, speaking of which, has hit more trouble then. Oh, you got to feel for Terry then. It's been just not the easiest race for him whatsoever. And he started in the pit lane, has visited the pit lane for a new front wing a couple of times, and he's going to have to do so again before the end then as he gets out of everybody's way and lets them all through. So at least Terry doing the right thing there and not causing any more big incidents. In fact, that was actually Capello of all people lapping it. Interesting.
Yeah, sorry, Terry, that was my fault. I shouldn't have. I should not have spoke.
No, I think it was me that said it. So you're completely
the commentator's
missing part.
curse. Like I was reading a message about Terry earlier, and then suddenly has an incident. So it is my fault.
There we go. Oh, of course, right. So anyway, here's Akine. Now just 2.3 seconds. Oh, sliding the rear out. He is pushing like crazy as David Akine. You see Glamsetter not far off us in the other sister car as well. Of course, with a lap fresher tyres then, with 6 laps to go. So there's a big chance here for Akine to demote Scarpelli out of 4th position then. Unfortunately for them, it looks like the leaders are a little bit too far out of reach here. So it should be Latin, Bills, Canzonieri, our top 3 in this one, unless Canzonieri can find something to beat Cedric Bill. Last lap actually for Canzonieri, 1 minute 12.6. Bill, 1 minute 13.9, so a very bad lap for Cedric Bill, and that's allowed Canzonieri to get back within 6 seconds of him again.
Can he do it? It's going to be good. I think 5 laps.
Unless Bill is really struggling with tire life, which would be very uncharacteristic. It would explain the 32-second gap to Lattinen, admittedly, but there we go. Bill, of course.
No, it seems to be fine.
Seems to be at the moment better lap for Bill, 1 minute 13.1. So Canzonieri only gained, actually Canzonieri was 4 tenths slower that previous lap then. So it looks like they've gotten out of traffic then, and normal service resumed. But still, any slip up here, and Bill could see the championship lead slip between his fingers here. And Lattinen is certainly getting closer and closer to stealing it off him. It was only a couple of rounds ago we had Suzuka where Bill held off Lattinen at the end of that race in a sort of really exciting finish. But now, ever since then, it really feels like Lattinen has gotten the upper hand and has consistently been faster, has consistently out-qualified Bill, and that's consistently how things have finished, really. This is sort of, so far, feeling like a bit of a rerunner back here, except with Lattinen with an even bigger margin of victory here. Oh, and is that Scarpelli making a mistake? There we go, through the 8-9 chicane. So now Akine has got a great opportunity. He doesn't want to make the move too early into the hairpin. Almost nips up the inside there. But I think this is going to be a DRS move then. Scarpelli, the hards are starting to fade here at this late phase of the race. We also got Miriam, who's right behind Jean-Michel Garnier for P11 as this is going on. But around the outside goes David Akine back into the top 4 there. So Scarpelli, he tried to make the hards work, but he's kind of ran out of tyres at this point compared to the softs that are just working really well for those that pit late on. And there is Miriam, desperately seeking a way into the top 10. He's got to clear Garnier and Morville. I think Morville is the 13 seconds up the road from this fight then. So it's really a fight for P11. Oh, Amir must think of a move up the inside, but backed out late on there. So good to see the Canadian throwing caution to the wind and going for Jean-Michel Garnier here.
Yeah, he's just throwing everything he possibly can, including the kitchen sink at him, isn't he?
Going to run out of household appliances at this rate. By the way, Glamsetter is also right behind Akhayan now, to the tune of 0.8 of a second. So let's see if Miram can get through here. He's closer than he looked at the previous lap. But again, I think the straight line speed in these competition cars is quite good. It's really the first and middle sector where they look a little bit more vulnerable on the hards then. So I think they kind of knew this would happen. Dive up the inside from Miram. And can he complete the move? Oh, he's got so much more grip. You see Garnier is almost having to slow, almost to a crawl there. And there through goes Miram then. So the softs enabling to make a very bold move.
Garnier, I think, was almost a half surprised by that as well. I think he just wasn't expecting Miram to make such an opportunistic move as that. Then we saw how much later that Miram broke in comparison to Garnier. So again, that's the tire difference between those two for you, and makes all the difference, and just makes the overtakes all the more easier as well. Akhayan just making his way past on through lap traffic. Scarpelli, I think. Yes, Scarpelli. I think Scarpelli, with the way that he's going, I don't know. Do you think Glamsetter could maybe pick off Scarpelli in these?
I thought Glamsetter was a bit closer because he seemed to lose a bit of time that previous lap. Let me see what the lap time was. Oh no, okay. Lap 56 was 1 minute 13, and yeah, 1 minute 13.1. So he's like 0.3 quicker than Scarpelli at the moment, and almost brushing the wall there as well. Needs to clear the lap to Scuderia Castellana car of Capello quickly here. This is all PTSD for Paul Capello after what happened earlier. But yeah, I definitely think, as Akhayan cuts the chicane once again. So a small mistake there. Hopefully he hasn't gained too much. You can't do that too much because you run out of corner cutting. You're given a certain amount going in, and if you exceed it too much, then you can get in trouble with the in-game penalties, not least the stewards as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Scarpelli gets a bit annoyed seeing that in front of him. But yeah, 2 laps to go. Glamsetter is 1.6 seconds behind. I think he can catch. It's just a matter of, it could be a very, very late move, maybe even on the final lap here.
I'm feeling a little bit anxious about this. I'm not quite sure how this is going to go. I don't know if my early bet is either going to hope, but the probably just needs to. I think if Scarpelli kind of keeps it on track now, I think should be somewhat fine. But if he has like another off moment, like
the thing is, a lot of the drivers that pit maybe earlier for the softs and were able to overtake a bit quicker, now they're having to do management as well. So that could be the one benefit to Scarpelli, that he's been able to manage the hards the whole way through and has kept relatively stable pace in the 113s effectively. Whereas you can see now Canzonieri, Bill, all both dipping into the mid 113s. Akhayan having to cut the chicane the previous lap. Glamsetter in the 1 minute 13.0, so 0.4 again quicker than Domenico Scarpelli. But we've got this lap and one more to go then. Scarpelli really just needs to keep it on the island then. Glamsetter's made a mistake. He's spun, no. I think, at the first couple of corners, and Savinsky's gotten through.
Yeah, I think that's happened to him. Let's see. Mahalo, bro, is just retired, so he's another retirement added to the book. Isn't a good day for him. Has just come slow.
Yeah. There we go. Over the curb, the rear's cried enough and into the wall. Quite a high-speed snap there as well. But here's what happened to the Norwegian driver, Christian Glamsetter, chasing down a potential P5 there as it just going to turn 2. He comes at too much speed, tries to save it. That's so painful. And through goes Philip Savinsky. Got out of the way, Savinsky, in time, luckily there. So Savinsky is given a free P6 there. He's 4 seconds behind Scarpelli, so I think it's unlikely he's going to catch him in time with just one more lap to go then, as Scarpelli into the chicane. Keeps it neat and tidy. And Lantner, so far ahead is he that he's about to win the race, Amir. It's been such a dominant performance, and Lantner from pole, where there was a challenge early on by Luis Mesa, but Mesa exited here at the end of this straight in spectacular fashion. Lantner is going to win by nearly 34 seconds then. He comes towards the line, his second win in a row, and it's one that puts him right in touching distance of Cedric Bill in the championship then. We have to wait a good 30 seconds for Bill, the Frenchman, to appear on the scene. But Latanen, that was a perfectly executed race in there.
Still like a very long one. Look, even now, Cedric Bill's still at the hair. That's how big the is.
Exactly, yes. So, just coming at the end of the straight now, Cedric Bill is going to take yet another podium. He's only finished off the podium once this season in Bahrain, but of course, second place is main rival ahead of him. So Bill will be relatively happy, I think, with that, but he knows he needs to step up his performance for our next round at Silverstone. Canzonieri back on the podium for the first time since his return at Baku last time out. So Canzonieri is effectively picking up where he left off as one of the best of the rest there. And there is David Akhain recovering to fourth. It was a really strong drive from David actually today. Scarpelli will settle for fifth, and Savinsky, the optimal hosting team, will take P6. So is that Savinsky's best result of the season so far? As we see Viscott get what's definitely his best result of the season so far in P8, getting good points for MV Conquest. So all of a sudden, Optimal did have a 33-point lead over MV Conquest going in. Now, only Bill getting points in this one. So, Yasse Latanen once more, not just cutting the gap in the drivers, but him and Viscott working well together to cut the lead in the teams table as well then. So, Mihajlo Vincentjevic, you may have had to retire at the end, but as a team owner, he's going to be a very happy man after that one.
Yep, I think he is. And one thing better than leading one championship is going to be lead both. And I think Latanen has kind of put his made a statement here today in Montreal, and a statement like what we've seen before in the Pro, and that is, I'm here to win the driver's crown. And you can really tell how much it means to the Finnish driver, and what a thoroughly deserving win, I think, from Yasse.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to see if this continues on through to the rest of the season from him. And also, I'm more curious to see, because we didn't see Mesa at his best or Cedric Bill at his best, what can we expect of him in terms of the later stages as well?
So I believe in terms of the championship, Latin is now 3 points behind Bill, and in the teams table, MV Conquest have cut the gap from 33 points to I think 21, because they've taken 12 points out of Optimal here. So let's have a look then at the final race results then. We've already having completed 60 laps of Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It is Yasse Latanen for the second race in a row that takes victory. It's interesting that Latanen waited so long for his first FSR win, and then two come at once. He has been absolutely on fire lately. Cedric Bill once more on the podium, but having to play second fiddle in a bit of a recovery drive. Canzonieri as well, finding his way through to P3, and then Akhain, who had a lot of difficulties in this race after the pit stops, getting through to P4. So a good drive by the German there. Domenico Scarpelli tried to get the hards to last. He has to settle for P5, I believe. Oh, pardon me. That is Scarpelli's best result of the season so far, because he was 6th in Japan and didn't finish the last two races. So Scarpelli needed those points, that's for sure. Philip Savinsky will finish P6 after getting a place late on there with Glamsetter spinning right at the end. It's a case really of what could have been for Christian Glamsetter, I think, in this race. Lucas Viscott from 16th on the grid gets up to P8, a very tidy drive from the second MV Conquest. Dano Branfom with the early stop for softs has to settle for P9, and Kevin Morville rounds out the top 10, making the hard tire strategy work for the Frenchman. So great job from Morville, I think it's fair to say. Percy Smirim, good drive in his home race to take P11, beating Jean-Michel Garnier near the end. And then we have Jared Batala in P13, Zabralecki's P14, and Rarest Toma will be our final point scorer. Albeit he'll be a little bit disappointed having lost his front wing earlier in the race. Andrea Capello, well, it's certainly an eventful race for Andrea, but he does get home 3 laps down in P16. And then we have Terry Crawford, our final finisher, in P17. Difficult race for Terry, but even more so for Mihajlo Vincentjevic, who did not finish along with Leila Petraglia. Louise Mesa exited stage right in spectacular fashion after a lapping attempt on Capello ended very badly, I think, especially for Louise Mesa. David O'Reilly, of course, had the race after collision with Leila Petraglia. And then we had Nando Marcia and Victor Bernat, who were both involved in collisions on the early, right on the first lap in the first couple of corners. Their race did not last long at all then. So, another eventful, exciting FSR round in the Pro Championship. Of course, next up will be Silverstone on the 21st of June, of course. So we've got a little bit of a month's break then until the next one, which is no doubt going to be a spectacular circuit at Silverstone then. But of course, coming up later in just under 40 minutes time, we've got FSR World Championship, where it will be Owen Harmon, David O'Reilly. You just saw in action there, taking you through all the action with Remco De Zeo on broadcast direction, of course. But anyway, Amir, before we sign off, any final thoughts then as we get to the midway point of this championship? And there are your standings. It's so tight at the top now. Lattinen, it's a bit like watching Jaws. Lattinen just gaining every single race so far.
Yeah, good race, very good race. I think it was. I think wouldn't say it was boring, but I think I've not have seen.
Lattinen did his best to make it boring, didn't he?
I just haven't seen such dominance in Pro than I have seen with Lattinen in Montreal, at least in terms of recent memory, or since I've been heavily involved last year. And I think Yase deserves all the credit for the way that he has drove today. I think Cedric also. I think this may admit and say that this is not my strongest track, and probably wasn't his strongest performance in comparison to what we've seen before of him. But Cedric did absolutely give it his all, and I think he should still be very happy with second place onto the board. I think if Mesa was involved, things could be a little bit more different for Cedric's way. Maybe he could have had a fine chance to Yase, but as we know, Mesa unfortunately got taken out of the equation, so he never knew what it was bound to be really for that race. I think that's why we said like, oh yes, it's gonna make this boring, because he's literally the only person that was close to him was unfortunately retired. But great race, 3 points away. That's going to make the second half of the season all the more interesting to be between Bill and Lattinen. And we've actually got quite a few interesting things as well in the standings as well.
Yeah, look at that third place fight. 18 points separate third from ninth there. And Cancellieri, having only done 2 races, is right in the mix as well. Runner-up from last year.
Yeah, it's just goes to show just how close that the Pro Championship has been. That the fact P3 is still very, very wide open, and Gallo Mattis, I think if he does make his return, then he's got a lot to have his. He's probably got a lot on his hands full in terms of trying to fend off from Glomstetter, Marsa, Akayan, and Van Loon if he returns, Cancellieri, etc. It's just all that unknown that makes Pro all the more interesting, and I cannot wait for what Silverstone will bring.
Yep, but of course, as you mentioned, World Championship coming up in a few short minutes time after we sign off, and that, of course, if you like you think the 3 points is a close title battle, Alex Loho leads Jan Grankvist by just 2 points in that battle, with Braxok, Broliak, Schluter, and Moynier all still in contention as well, and are seeking to master Montreal then. But anyway, congratulations once more to our winner, Yase Lattinen, once again proving his absolute dominance, the flying fin. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, Amir, for commentary. I've really enjoyed doing it, and all the best for World Championship later on to all of our competitors. But thank you very much, everybody, for taking part, and everybody for watching as well. I've been Edward Hunter, he's been Amir Oates, and good night from us from Montreal.